if we are all seeing the world through our own lens, how do we know that we're seeing the same world? How do our perception of the world align together? Okay? So Kant creates these problems. Hegel, who comes after Kant, Friedrich Hegel, by the way, he proposes a solution to these three problems. And what he says is this, and this is really important for us to understand, is the noumena is the Geist. The Geist is hard to translate. We usually translate it to mean spirit. Okay, so what Hegel is saying is that the spirit world is what creates the material world. We are just a shell. What really matters is the spirit world. Now, it's really important to understand the concept of the Geist, okay? And again, it's German, but there's no actual English translation for it. So it's best to see Geist as a combination of three words that derive from Geist. Okay, these three words are ghost, Geyser, and gist. Okay? So these three English words are derivatives of the German word Geist. Right? Most words in English are actually German in origin. Sorry, not most words, but many words, okay? All right, ghost is just a parallel reality that exists alongside us, right? A spiritual world. That's the first concept. Geyser is just a force that is exploding or becoming or expanding. So this Geist is constantly expanding and becoming. Gist means the essence of things, the core of things. Okay? So the real truth in the world is the Geist. Not what we see, but what is invisible to us. Okay, so that's the idea of the Geist. Does that make sense? Now with the Geist, we can answer all three questions. The noumena, the real world, is the spiritual world, not the material world. It's the Geist that gives us these filters. And because we're all seeing the world through the Geist, we see the same world. Okay? So now this creates another problem, which is, where did the Geist come from? What is the Geist? Okay? And here we will look at Plato and Dante. Okay? So again, this is a really deep theory, and we'll go more deeply into this as the semester moves. But I just first want to introduce the idea to you right now, okay? So this comes from Plato and a religion called Gnosticism. Okay? The Gnostics. Gnostic just means knowledge. Okay. So in the beginning, the Big Bang, the force is the monad, or the one. Okay, there are different names for this thing, or Nous. Just think of this as a supreme God. Okay, the Big Bang, the force, like the sun almost. Okay, the spiritual sun of the universe. The Nous works by breathing. When he breathes, he vibrates his divine power. And through this, he creates new beings called dyads. Dyads are just pairs of forces. Okay? And these dyads then create different realities. All right? So different realities are being created through this interaction. And eventually, you reach Earth. Okay? So in other words, what Plato and Gnostics are telling us is that the Geist is a multi-layer, multi-dimensional world that we access all the time. Okay? Does that make sense? And the Earth, what we see, it is just the most outer shell in this universe. Is this clear to you guys? All right. So now the question then is, what is the purpose of life in the world? And what Plato says is that the purpose of life in this world is to return to the monad. Okay, and guess what, guys? This is actually the framework for a lot of religions, including Hinduism, right, and Buddhism. This is what the Hindus and the Buddhists believe as well. Nirvana is to return to the monad. I'm not sure if you guys have studied religion before, okay? But that's the idea. So what Plato says is that through the pursuit of knowledge, philosophy, the love of knowledge, you can return to the monad, okay? Dante, and we will study Dante in depth later on, okay? But Dante has another solution. What Dante says is that the monad is love, okay? And the monad, because he creates things, his divine spark emanates throughout the universe, okay? So there is a divine spark in us, and this divine spark is called love. So we are able to love people, mothers love children, you love each other because of this divine spark in you. And the more you love, the more you return to the monad. Okay, so Plato says, pursue knowledge. Dante says, pursue love. Okay? So now the question is, okay, this sounds all very good, but why does evil happen in the world? Okay, what's the source of evil? Right? That's interesting. Okay, you have this theory of the universe, but then the question then is, why do people do bad things then? Why is there sacrifice in the world? Why are people doing all these bad things and not only getting away with it, but they're also controlling the world? That's a big question, right? So, for Plato, the answer is very simple. This world doesn't matter. Who cares if they control this world? It's a fake shadow world. Ignore them. Just focus on the pursuit of knowledge because that allows you to be one with the monad. Okay? Who cares about this world? Give them what they want. Give them their power, their fame, their money. Who cares? Dante's answer is actually very interesting. Okay? That's Plato's answer. It doesn't matter. This world doesn't matter. Who cares what happens in this world? It's a prison anyway. Dante actually proposed something different. He says this. If the monad is love, love is trust. So the monad loves us, and as a result, the monad gives us free will. Now, free will can lead to bad things, for example, this world, but he has no choice in the matter. Because for him to interfere means to take away our free will. And free will is his greatest gift to us. Okay? But now and then, what he will do is he will send messengers to our world to remind us that there is a divine spark in us. And we can activate it and achieve a greater consciousness. And these messengers are Plato, Dante, right? Jesus. Right? Does that make sense? So now and then the monad will send, through the Geist, okay? The monad will implant ideas in these people who will then tell us the truth. But it's our choice whether or not to believe it because the monad has given us free will. All right, so for Plato, what's important is the pursuit of knowledge. For Dante, what matters is the pursuit of love. To love each other unconditionally. Okay? And that's what they tell us.